For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Motshabi Hoaeane. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner discusses the controversial advert by charity organisation Feed a Child, which was widely criticised by South Africans as racist. Thank you so much, Professor, for your time. In your column, you questioned the advertisement by Feed the Child to say, don't you think their intentions were good in wanting to raise public awareness of the need to address child hunger through showing how some dogs are often fed better than children?
Yeah, I think, when you do something in the public domain, you have to look beyond your intentions. You have to ask yourself carefully, how will this resonate in the audience that you will have? Now, since I wrote that article, I have watched all the videos that I could find concerning this, and I hadn't seen the full advertisement when I wrote the column, and I was even more shocked by it. This one scene has the child on her lap like a dog. Another scene has the dog child has the child bringing the newspaper like a dog is sometimes trained to do, and then she gives him a bit of food. There's one in the kitchen, I think, and then there's the one that I had commented on before, where where she passes food to the child who's crouching under the table like a dog. Now, I think Feed the Child and the people who made this advert consciously rehearsed this. It wasn't something that they did spontaneously. They rehearsed this. And the way in which people understand being treated like a dog is actually quite significant, and they don't seem to have understood this. If you say you're treated like a dog, you mean you are treated in an inhumane way, or in a way, if you Google the word, you'll see it sometimes refers to being treated like a slave. In other words, you are not treated with the dignity that should be accorded to a human being. Now, that doesn't mean that we treat animals, including dogs, in an inhumane way. The word inhumane, which comes from human, is actually applied to animals. But animals do not have a conception of dignity which the subjective capacity of human beings give them. So that consequently, when you are treated in a way that is called subhuman, you are said to lose your capacity to be a human being, which is something different from being a thing or being an animal. So I think they haven't appreciated the way this would be read as an attack on the dignity of the child. To have the child treated as a dog is, to me, to misread what can be done under the banner of charity.
So you don't accept that they acted with the intention of improving the lot of hungry children?
No, I don't question that they had good faith. But what I think is important when we act in good faith, when we act with a view to exposing a problem and providing a remedy for the problem, we don't simultaneously erase the dignity of a human being. Now, the spokesperson for this NGO says, I see no race, I see no color, I see no politics. In other words, how she is painting herself is someone whose humanitarianism is unencumbered by these, what she calls perceived racism, these other factors, all she is there for is to do good. Now, if you don't recognize race, you're actually nullifying the experience of people under apartheid and the experience that many people are still having today. And you can't simply erase that by denying that race is significant to you. To remedy racism and the poverty that this child has, which has got a lot to do with apartheid inequality, you need to recognize what race signifies. So that there's a contradiction, in my view, between saying that you do not recognize race and wanting to remedy something that has got something to do with race. Now, some of the people who commented on YouTube after the video said, well, it would have been better if they had had a white boy and an African woman. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't want anyone to be treated like a dog. And I think that they don't understand that the message that feeding a dog costs less than feeding a child got lost in the process of demeaning this child, robbing this child of his human dignity. And I think it's very, very important to understand that your subjective goodwill is not sufficient. You've got to understand the world into which you wish to insert some new initiative and appreciate how the other, not just how you feel, but how the psyche of the other person will be affected, and other persons who, like this child, are Africans.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your insights once more. That was Professor Suttner on building non-racialism in a democratic South Africa.